KXAN investigator Josh Hinkle spoke today with a police and transparency expert at the University of Texas School of Law. She says releasing such video can foster community trust, but it will also bring a new level of scrutiny that could have implications beyond Austin.
The police department has been quick to say that these redactions or edits do not affect the depiction of events presented in this video, but sometimes that might be a little hard to believe, especially if you are critical of the police or maybe there's mistrust already, correct?
I think it's certainly right that in an atmosphere of mistrust, in an atmosphere where there's sort of an increased tendency to take police accounts of their own activities with a grain of salt, that there's going to be predictably less trust, less willingness to sort of take police at their word. I do think it's important to say that there are some legitimate privacy interests that any governmental organization has to account for when they release public information. And so there absolutely are, at least in theory, in the law, legitimate reasons to redact video or other documents relating to a particular incident.
Do you expect that there might be a larger conversation on the state level when state lawmakers come back to the legislative session in January?
Well, my understanding is that may in fact already have been in the works, that lawmakers who in the last session were behind efforts to repeal some of the limitations on transparency, some of the carve-outs from the Open Records Act. We're planning to again introduce legislation to do the same thing. What the scope of that will be very interesting to see, and what will happen in terms of the current political winds meeting the resistance to those changes that boiled up in the last legislative session will be very interesting to see as well.
Josh Hinkle also spoke with the Freedom of Information Foundation of Texas. They've already started working with state lawmakers on legislation, but not only surrounding transparency with law enforcement, but also emergencies, modern times, and open records responses. And that could include the so-called dead suspect loophole. Our investigative team has been digging into that for the past 2 years. To catch up, search for our project called Denied. It's in the investigative section at kxan.com.